guys, welcome to my YouTube channel, Deneen Loves MJ, and I'm your girl, Deneen. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So anyway, today I felt like doing something a little different. I usually react to Michael Jackson's live performances or his music videos, but I was like, let me try to do something a little different because sometimes, you know, this stuff can get kind of repetitive. So I was like, you know, looking around for some Michael content, and I came across this video that The Detail had up. Mind you, I love The Detail. They're one of my favorite YouTube channels on here. The Detail just specializes in everything Michael Jackson. So if you're a Michael fanatic like me, just learning about Michael Jackson, want to know more about Michael Jackson, head over there. They got it. Shouts out to them. So anyway, I came across this video called 7 Blockbusters that Michael Jackson was supposed to star in. So I was just like, what? 7 movies Michael was supposed to star in? Blockbuster movies? That means well-known movies. So I'm like, okay, wow, what movies could these possibly be that they didn't allow my Michael to take part in? Whose fault is it? But anyway, we're going to look all into that. So you guys just share your comments and opinions with me down in the comment section. And let me know if you agree with these movie choices. Could you see Michael in any of these movies? But anyway, let's get straight to the reaction of 7 Blockbusters Michael Jackson was going to star in.
Let's get into the detail and take a look at 7 blockbuster film productions the singer surprisingly tried his very best to get a lead role in. Edward Scissorhands, 1990. A wild-haired, black-clad, misunderstood artist adrift in suburbia, Edward Scissorhands is clearly based on Burton himself as a teenager growing up. He and screenwriter Carolyn Thompson had been developing the character and the story for years. But Burton waited until the enormous success of 1989's Batman gave him the clout to make the highly personal movie without creative interference. Michael Jackson caught wind of the character and expressed a keen interest in the role, lobbying himself to Burton over an extended period of time.
I can see
but
that.
Unfortunately, Burton never responded to Jackson's attempt, and Johnny Depp was ultimately cast in the role. Although there are many parallels between the character of Edward and the sensitive misfit, and Jackson's own public persona, even the way the character was dressed bared uncanny resemblance to Jackson's own stage attire during this period, questioning Michael Jackson's influence on the character development and they on him.
So what do you guys think about that? Could you see Michael Jackson playing Edward Scissorhands? I can. And the strange thing is, way back as a kid when that movie came out, I felt like Michael could have played that role. Even then as a young kid, I thought, wow, something about this is quite Michael-ish, you know? But, you know, I never expressed it to nobody. I just felt it like, wow, that's kind of like remind me of Michael Jackson. And look, he was actually up for the role. And then Johnny Depp, as you can see, obviously took the role. But now when you think about it, the costuming, you know, even though they said Tim Burton, you know, it's based on his teenagehood, but you could kind of see how it plays into somewhat of Michael Jackson's real life, you know, the withdrawnness and the shyness, and you know how the world was coming at Michael Jackson and the overall look. I definitely can see Michael Jackson playing Edward Scissorhands. Can you guys see it? I can for sure.
Hook, 1991. Jackson, who had long been obsessed with the idea of flying, took a special interest in Peter Pan, author J.M. Barrie's boy who never grew up. According to director Steven Spielberg, Jackson was close to being cast as Pan in Spielberg's 1991 film Hook, which examined Pan's life as a world-weary adult who discovers the young man he used to be. That twist was apparently disagreeable with Jackson, who didn't envision a revisionist Pan in the same way Spielberg did. Ultimately, the role would eventually go to Robin Williams.
Rest in peace, Robin Williams. He was one of my favorite actors growing up as a kid. But we already know, if you're already like a hardcore Michael Jackson fan and know a lot about Michael, we already know that Michael definitely loved him some Peter Pan, hence his Neverland Ranch, you know. So yeah, I can see Michael Jackson playing Peter Pan. I think I could, but the thing here is they said that him and Steven Spielberg couldn't agree on how they envisioned Peter Pan. Obviously, we got the one with Robert Williams, so we got to see Steven Spielberg's vision. But I would really had liked to know how Michael Jackson was envisioning Peter Pan. He disagreed with the adult Peter Pan trying to find his childhood or whatever the case may be. I only watched Hook probably twice, and that was like mad years ago. But obviously that didn't sit well with Michael, so I would really like to have known what his vision was for Peter Pan. That one's interesting too. What you guys think about that one?
The Hunchback of Notre Dame,
Hunchback of
1996.
Notre Dame.
Jackson was so
I know it's Notre
infatuated
Dame,
with
but
the
I like to
Victor
say
Hugo
Notre Dame.
story
I don't know why.
about a deformed cathedral occupant Quasimodo and his love for a street dancer that he screened the 1939 film adaptation countless times. Screenwriter Tom Headley recalled that he and Jackson spent many nights discussing the possibility of Jackson taking over the role of the Hunchback. However, the project never got off the ground, and Hugo's story was later the basis for a 1996 Disney animated feature.
So, Hunchback of Notre Dame, was never one of my, even as a kid, I never was really interested in it. But, I don't know, I think that's kind of in the same category as, what is it, Peter Pan. You know, it's for some reason, it gives me, like, the same type of feel. I don't understand why, but I don't know. I think Michael Jackson could have probably pulled it off. You know, obviously they would have put on the aesthetics the way they did to Michael Jackson in the movie Ghost when he was the mayor. So they probably would have did all of that stuff to make him fit the character, but I don't know about that one there, you know. Maybe because I just don't have no personal interest in the I can't even say it. The Hunchback of Notre Dame. Maybe because I have no interest there, so I can't really see it. But what do you guys think? Do you think Michael could have pulled it off? Would you think that it would have still been some type of a blockbuster film if he appeared in it? Which I think so. He's Michael Jackson. But anyway, what do I know? So let's move on to the next one.
Jack and the Beanstalk, never released. The project was part of a record contract Jackson had signed with Sony in the early 90s, which also included film projects like Jack and the Beanstalk. But owing to negative publicity surrounding Jackson in the years to come, none of the proposed ideas ever got off the ground. During a meeting to discuss film opportunities, Jackson allegedly, inexplicably placed his head on the table and began to cry uncontrollably.
Isn't that sad if that's true? He started crying. Maybe he's cried because he felt like no one was trying to give him a chance to express his artistic ability in other realms besides music, you know. That's kind of heartbreaking. But Jack and the Beanstalk, like I just mentioned to you guys now, that all fits in the same category to me. Peter Pan, Jack and the Beanstalk, Hunchback of Notre Dame. That's all kind of like in the same genre. So obviously that's Michael Jackson loved that type of fantasy there. But I think Michael was better off not playing Jack and the Beanstalk. I wish I could have patted him on the back if he was sitting there crying like, Mike, don't worry about it because no one's going to see it anyway. As we all know, that movie didn't go, it was unreleased, but I don't think it would have went nowhere anyways because I just don't think too many people want to break their neck to the movies to see Jack and the Beanstalk. So, Michael, I don't think you missed out on anything. I wish I could have hugged you and told you that while you were crying, but do you guys think you can see that role for Michael? I personally think he was better off not doing it, but that's just me being selfish because I just don't think I just don't have no interest in Jack and the Beanstalk. But yeah.
Star Wars Episode 1: The Phantom Menace, 1999. The critically maligned Star Wars prequel took a particular beating over computer-generated comic relief Jar Jar Binks. According to motion capture actor Ahmed Best, Jackson had petitioned director George Lucas for the role. Lucas said, "Well, Michael wanted to do the part, but he wanted to do it in prosthetics and makeup like Thriller." Best said, "George wanted to do it in CGI. My guess is ultimately Michael Jackson would have been bigger than the movie, and I don't think Lucas wanted that."
Now, Mr. Steven Spielberg. You didn't want Michael to be in there because, first off, I guess they disagreed. Michael Jackson wanted to do the prosthetics. I keep saying aesthetics, prosthetics. And Steven Spielberg wanted to do the CGI. I think the prosthetics would have been better because, to me, maybe because I'm old school, those type of effects give the movie more of a real feeling to me versus the CGI. Sometimes CGI moves so fast, I don't know what I'm looking at. But I think Michael could have been a good Jar Jar Binks. You know, I think he could have been a great Jar Jar Binks. We already seen Michael Jackson when he's happy and he's goofy and he's joking around in the way he does his body and his face. I think he would have been great. And then he would have had on aesthetics, so it's not like he would have been looking like Michael Jackson as the character, since they were afraid that he will overshadow the movie. But I'm feeling like, hey, even if he did, that's more money for you, more money in the bank, isn't it? But I think that Michael Jackson could have did Jar Jar Binks. But once again, Michael, be glad you didn't. Michael in heaven, be glad you didn't do Jar Jar, because that was one of the worst Star Wars ever. It really was. So my Michael didn't miss out on anything, okay? But if he did do it, I think he could have pulled it off. What do you guys think?
Spider-Man 2002. A little-known fact is that for years, Jackson had attempted to acquire Marvel Comics, which was experiencing financial issues in the late 1990s, and had even filed for bankruptcy in 1996. In 1999, Jackson met with writer Stan Lee to discuss the possibility of an acquisition, and to get Lee's thoughts on the potential for Jackson starring as Spider-Man in a feature film. According to Lee, Jackson felt buying the company would be the only way he'd get the part. Jackson was unable to gather the financing needed to buy Marvel, and Sony produced a Spider-Man feature in 2002 with Tobey Maguire.
So, Spider-Man, Michael Jackson as Spider-Man. Could you guys envision that? Like, wow. The only thing I see that would kind of throw me off is that Peter Parker is a high school student, and Michael Jackson at that point in time was way beyond high school age. So would they have rewritten the background story for Peter Parker to fit Michael Jackson in? Because I believe the story of Peter Parker starts way back from when Stan Lee started Spider-Man. That's Spider-Man's backstory, always been. So I would have really liked to see how they would have worked that in there, But that would have been very interesting. But I don't know, Michael Jackson and Spider-Man, what do you guys think about that? Very interesting. But him and Stan Lee, though, and Michael owning Marvel, could you imagine Michael Jackson's imagination with Stan Lee's imagination? Those two? Whoa, I really would have liked to see what that Marvel world would have looked like, right? Wow.
Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, 2005. When Jackson learned Warner Brothers had hired Tim Burton to reimagine Roald Dahl's Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, which had been previously filmed with Gene Wilder in 1971, the singer became so preoccupied with being considered for the role of eccentric chocolatier Willy Wonka that he recorded a soundtrack to surprise studio executives. Although they loved the music, no one was behind the idea of casting him as Wonka. When they offered to pay an exorbitant sum for the soundtrack and give him a small supporting part, an offended Jackson dropped out of participating entirely. The role eventually went to Johnny Depp. Can you see a pattern here? Who later denied he based his portrayal of the character on Michael Jackson.
So, Michael Jackson wanted to be in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, and they gave the role once again. Another role that he was interested in, to the infamous Johnny Depp. And we love you, Johnny Depp. You're one of my faves, so you have nothing to really do with this. But this is another time, you guys, when I seen Johnny Depp's interpretation of Willy Wonka, I automatically thought Michael Jackson. I really did. And this was back in the day. I was like, wow, he's Michael-ish, And come to find out, okay, now we see why. Do you guys think that's a coincidence that Edward Scissorhands, starring Johnny Depp, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, starring Johnny Depp, both have Michael Jackson's likeliness by accident? Come on, you guys. Really? Like, these people think we must be not the brightest. Anyone can see that those two characters have a lot of Michael Jackson essence to them. And I believe with all my heart that Michael Jackson could definitely, out of all of these movie roles, I feel like he can definitely have played Willy Wonka. He is Willy Wonka. The kids love him. He loved the kids. He had the Neverland. That's basically like his own chocolate factory. He has the personality. He already has the look and the clothing style. He is Willy Wonka. It seems to me the saddest part of this whole situation with these movies is that they wanted Michael Jackson to be stuck in this, just being Michael Jackson, the musician, and that's it. They didn't want him to expand his talent, And I think that was so unfair to him, because we don't know what Michael could have done, The little bit of acting that we seen him do, he was phenomenal to me. So could you imagine if someone just gave him the chance and he could hone the craft, and, Michael Jackson, a perfectionist. So I'm pretty sure he would have, really made sure he did what he had to do when it came to these, I got food in my mouth. My boyfriend just came in here and fed me some food. Got you guys. That's why you see my footage jump a little bit. I told him to leave me alone. Let me do my video. But yeah, it's like, I think Michael Jackson would have perfected those roles if given the chance. These people did not want him. These people, as in the Hollywood directors, Steven Spielberg, Tim Burton, George Lucas, whoever else. You guys just didn't give him a chance. You just wanted him to be the... And then the last movie here, Willy Wonka, you said, oh, we don't want you in our movie, but you could give us the soundtrack and we'll just give you a little bit of crumbs. Remind me of that meme. We'll give you a little bit of crumbs. No! Don't be disrespecting my meme like that, you know? But anyway, so do any of these movie roles you guys think Michael Jackson could have played in? Do you guys think he could have been Edward Scissorhands? Do you think he could have been Hunchback of Notre Dame? Do you think he could have been Spider-Man? Do you think he could have been Willy Wonka? Do you think he could have been Jar Jar Binks? Do you think he could have been any of these roles, you know? Do you guys see it for Michael? Could you envision it? Or you just think it's a bust and that it was better that he was never in these movies anyway? I can say one thing. I'm glad he never did Jack and the Beanstalk, so I think that was a blessing. And thank goodness he didn't do Jar Jar Binks in that Star Wars, because from what I heard, that's the worst Star Wars out of the whole franchise. So you didn't miss out on anything, Mike. But anyway, this was very interesting and we learned a lot, especially Stan Lee with Michael Jackson. I seen the footage of them online. Those two together, I think that would have been definitely phenomenal. But tell me what you guys think down in the comment section. And yeah, until next time, thank you for watching. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe and support your girl. Hit the notification bell if you want to know when I upload. And yeah, thank you for watching and stay safe, you guys. Don't let this pandemic stuff get you stressed, because sometimes I swear I'm like, please just don't let it get to you. Let's try to stay positive and happy. And yeah, until next time, see ya.